In this video, we're gonna upgrade these lights with Govee smart lights. So we're gonna be continuing on the plan to make our lights a little bit better around the shop here so that at night it's a little bit safer walking to and from, as well as just creating more automation with timers and app control, voice control options that you can get with smart lighting. And once again, we're going back to Govee. We're gonna be doing the outdoor wall lights, and I'm gonna be doing 1 and 2. So this is gonna be really simple because all we're really doing is just replacing these quite dated sconces with a outdoor wall light. Now I've actually already installed 6 of these on the house itself, so I already know the process. It's really simple, but being that we're putting it down in the shop, I figured I'd go ahead and get a quick video and give you guys a rough idea of what's involved in installing. Now inside the box you will get the light itself, a mounting bracket, as well as a couple screws with some wire nuts. And that's really all you need. It's not too bad. So first things first, you're gonna wanna remove your old lights. Make sure you disconnect any power. Generally a light switch is enough to turn that off, but you will wanna consider how yours might have been assembled. It's possible you still have a live wire even when the switch is off. It's not typically the case, but be careful. If you do have live power, make sure you kill the main breaker. So I got the old light off and I got our mounting plate attached to the wall here, and our wires are exposed. And once again, making sure that the wires themselves don't have any power running to them. Now, in the case of this one here, they did split it off. So I see that there's a connection here and then it goes back through to the other side of the door. So the included wire nuts will probably not fit in an application like this. I'm gonna use some larger size. Just keep that in mind. Depending on the electrical, you may need a couple extra wire nuts, just depending. Those will probably fit fine over there because it's probably a single wire attached into a single wire, and it'll be plenty of room. You have a white wire and you have your live black wire, and you're just gonna attach it to your white wire and your live black wire. And then you have your ground, which will attach to the ground here. Now on the house itself, I actually had one outlet that did not have a ground in it, which a little weird, but it's an older house, so I guess that's just what it is. And I did not attach a ground, and I haven't seen any issues, but if you do have a ground, make sure you attach it. So once we get the wires all connected with our wire nuts, making sure that you don't have any exposed metal or anything that can touch any part of the bracket or any part of any other wires. You also probably want to give it a little bit of a tug, just make sure that it is secure in place and it's not going to come loose once you start tucking inside. And once you do that, you can just go ahead and tuck these wire nuts inside of that little electrical box, and the light itself will actually go over that bracket and just slide down in. So you just push it up against it, slide it down, and then there's 2 holes in the side, and there are screws in that pack, black screws, and we're going to screw those into the side, and that'll stop it from sliding out. So we got our first light up. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the second light, then we'll go ahead and turn them on and start up the app. All right, so we are ready to go ahead and add in the lights. So as you see, I got them turned on and they're just kind of pulsing different colors. We're going to go ahead and open up the Govee app and hit the plus sign in that top corner there, and you can see that first device has already showed up. I'm going to hit add. Now you will need to be connected to your Wi-Fi at this point in order for you to get everything set up. In the case of my Wi-Fi, I do actually have an IoT Wi-Fi system within my mesh network, and that is a good way to isolate all of these devices from your normal computers and other devices with sensitive information. So if you do have this feature on the Wi-Fi system that you're using, it's not a bad idea to use it. When we moved to this new location, that was something that I made sure to enable and have been using it for all of my new devices. And it just gives you a little bit of peace of mind knowing that those devices cannot access anything personal that you might have on your computers. So you go ahead and make sure you are connected to whatever Wi-Fi service you're going to use, and it does need to be a 2.4 gigahertz network. Type in your password there and then hit next, and we have successfully added that one. Now we can rename this and hit done. Now we're going to go ahead and create a new group. This was a good way for you to be able to control them as a group rather than individually. So if you want to hop on real quick and control something like the string lights, you'd be able to do it this way as well. I'm just gonna call that the NLN shop exterior lights, and we're good to go. We'll hit done. And we're gonna add another device, and that will be our second sconce here. Same process for that. And now we have both lights added. Now what I can do is I can actually go over here to our shortcuts panel, and this will show us the different sections that we have. And it is possible that you'll have to go in here and manually add it. In the event that it doesn't add both, you can just go to manage device. You can choose which devices you want to include. And it is going to list all like devices. Now, as you can see, I have quite a few in the house, but I'm not going to link those to the shop lights. I'm just going to do both shop lights down here, but I can hit next. And this gives me the ability, I can turn them off, turn them on. I can do scenes, fun Christmas themes and things like that if I want to. And this does give you a pretty good idea. I mean, you know, as with any light, outdoor lights that you're doing, you can see the one that's in the shade, you can see it, it's lit up pretty well. The one that is still getting some sun is not so much. It's pretty typical for what you would see of an outdoor wall light. It will light up at night and it won't show so much during the day. So I think with these in general, I think the output has been pretty good. It's not a floodlight, but it does light up well for looking for keys or walking up to the house or just, you know, being able to see what's going on outside. So for that purpose, honestly, they do really well. But in my case, I'm just gonna go with a solid color. And for nighttime purposes, I kind of like them a little bit dim. So I put them about 40% and I move it closer to the natural white level. I'm not looking for a super bright white light. It's really just more for safety and just more to illuminate the space a little bit more than just pitch black. So that works really well for me, but you know, obviously you can set that to wherever you want. Now, something else that you can do is to set timers. Now, unfortunately at this time, the only way to set timers is individually. So you will have to go back to the home page here and you can select each of the devices to set a timer. In this case, I am going to have them turn off every day at 7 a.m. So just like that, I have them turning off every day at 7 a.m. And then I can create a second timer and that will make them turn on every day. And I want to set that to be at 6 p.m. So that is military time, so it'd be about 1800. And change that to on. So now that'll make them turn on every day at 6 and turn off every morning at 7 a.m. And I can do a couple more timers there if I want. You could do wake up, which is your gradual on. So you start at a lower power level and it slowly grows. Sleeping, it'll gradually darken. So there's different things you can do depending if maybe it's an indoor light and you want to use it as a way to wake up in the morning or something. You could do something like that. So that way it's not like full brightness, but it just kind of slowly comes on. So a few different options. There's definitely some pretty cool features within the Govee app, and they seem to update things pretty regularly, but it gives you an idea of the app itself. So there you have it. It's really not hard. These things are super easy to install. Wi-Fi gives you a lot of options within the app, but they can also be very basic. If I just go in there and flip the switch off, they'll turn off. If I flip the switch on, they'll turn on, just like a normal light. So you have a lot of flexibility in that. I know in my case in particular, I really appreciate the smart aspect of things. I like to use the Alexa voice commands to make things work, but my wife is not a big fan of that. She likes a light switch. She likes the ability to control things via her voice, and she can do that. Now, with things like this, sometimes though, it can be irritating because there can be times where, in the case of my wife, she does like to turn them off and on with the switch. And if she turns them off and she forgets to turn them back on, they're not going to turn on their own. And that's where you can get something like a smart switch if she still wants to have that control, or you can just bypass the switch altogether. In the case of myself, I'm probably gonna bypass the switch altogether because I don't really like it down here and up there. It's exterior lights, but when it comes to the lights that are inside the house, I've done a lot of smart lighting and I've used those smart switches, and you can get them. I'll actually put a link in the description for this video if you do wanna go that route. They're pretty cool because you do give you the option to use voice commands to activate the switch. So if you have an analog device, an analog light or something, you don't wanna put a smart light in the ceiling, a smart switch on the wall is a way to dress up the environment a little bit with a nice designer style light switch, but it also gives you the ability to control it via Wi-Fi and voice activation. I actually, in my house, I have the lights in my room and the kids' bedrooms on switches like this, and I set timers on them. So during the week, if it's a school week, I have them set to turn on at a certain point, and that helps everybody to wake up a little bit better. If you're using a Govee system, you could even use that Graduate system where it kind of slowly comes on. Now, you would have to have a light that dims, and you would have to have one that is a Govee system to do that. But you know, there's a lot of different options with smart lighting that's really nice to be able to incorporate into an environment without being obtrusive or without being extreme. And you know, with these, they're pretty cool. I haven't used them yet during a holiday season to be able to tell you about a ton of the features and just my expressions on them. But I will say one thing that I did notice with these versus some of the other ones, like sconces was one that I used at the other house. The sconces, they were individually controllable, but it was like one color for the whole thing. With these, they're actually 3 sections. So you can actually, you'll see in the apps where they actually kind of like flow upward, and you got like one color, one color, one color. So you have 3 different colors and it can alternate between them. So that is a kind of a nice little touch that Govee did, where it's not just one light, it's actually 3 lights within, or at least 3 individually controlled sections. And it is pretty cool that it gives you that functionality where you can change that within the app, different show modes and whatnot. But if you're like me, 90% of the time, you're probably just gonna have these set at a standard color, put a timer on it, and go about your day. If there's ever a time where you wanna turn them on, you can pull up the app, tell it to turn on, tell it to turn off, change the color if you want to. And in the intensity, you know, maybe there's a time where you want it to be a little bit brighter, you go in the app, you can set that. So it does give you a lot of flexibility, but it also keeps things simple if that's all you're looking for. So I definitely like these. Once again, I have 6 of them on my house up there right now, and now I've got 2 more down here, and they do quite well. So definitely check out Govee, and I definitely recommend these lights if you're looking to replace some exterior lights on your house. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos.